Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Game Week 16 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team. And it's live. FPL Team is your best one-stop shop for all your future FPL planning. Particularly useful when you've got 5 free transfers. Although most of you have spunked them, haven't you? Yeah, I've spunked 4 of mine, I should say. Right, so I made 4 moves. Hincapi, Harry Wilson, Bruno Fernandes, Phil Foden in at various points during the course of the week, taking all of them before price rises. Outscon Bumo, Minter, Sade, and unfortunately Daniel Munoz. I line up this week. Verbruggen, Timber, Hincapi, Virgil van Dijk, Wilson, Bruno Fernandes is vice. Phil Foden and Bruno Guimaraes up front. Igor Thiago, Erling Haaland captain. And also Nick Voltemade, Nico O'Reilly first sub, then Malik Chow, then Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Bart Verbruggen is my replacement goalkeeper. Captaincy this week, in my opinion, is a complete 50-50 between Haaland and Saka. If you have confidence that Saka will haul and Haaland will blank, by all means, go for it. I still think that Haaland will probably have a good weekend. And I also don't own Saka. But I think, in all seriousness, if I own Saka, I think I would probably still captain Haaland. Bruno Fernandes is best of the rest. Bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you will see my predicted lineups for all 20 teams playing in Game Week 16. Right at the bottom ticker, you will see all the flag players and next 5 fixtures for each team. The captaincy top 10 will rotate with my correct score predictions for the game week. And directly below me, you will see the benching dilemma screen where there are 2 players together. The player with a tick is the preferred option to start from those 2 players. They run in order left to right, pages 1 to 4. You will also find some goalkeepers on page 5. Many of your questions may well be answered by what's on the screen with the graphics. We are 53 minutes away from deadline. As per usual, I'll try and answer as many of your questions as possible between now and the 12:30 p.m. deadline. Rewind 87, that should solve the problem with the ticker now, I believe. So that should all be sorted for you now. As always, everybody, play it your way. Smash a like, hit the sub button. Let's go. Ken Hughes says, hi, James. Start Burnley or Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. So Dubravka or Sells. This week I'd probably go Dubravka. And bench 1 of Minter, Voltemade, Foden, Semenyo. Thanks, I'd bench Minter. CRS says, do you think Rice will start? He's not in my predicted Arsenal lineup. However, I would say that it's more likely than unlikely. I'd say sort of circa 65 to 70%. But the team that I've predicted doesn't have him in it. I've actually got Eze and Odegaard both in there in central roles. Madueke left, Saka right. That's my predicted lineup for this one. He could easily play, but I'm kind of the... I wanted to buy him this week. I'm kind of the impression now that probably in most scenarios it's weight. Billy T Production says, yo, Jimbo, I've got 1 free transfer left and currently on triple Arsenal defence, but one of those is Saliba. Would you do Saliba to Hincapi or ride it out? Lacroix and Rodon on a bench. Would you want Saliba long term? You go Saliba to Hincapi now. You jump that onto Gabriel when he's back. That's probably the better one, isn't it? What are you doing when Gabriel's back? Are you going to just go Saliba to Gabriel anyway? I'd probably bin. Tommy in Peace says, morning James, start Senesi, Ekdal, Tarkovsky or buy a new defender. Already own VVD and Lacroix and free Arsenal. From that lot this week, I'd possibly take a chance on Ekdal, you know. James OYC says, hi James, please can I have 1 crazy punt in each position for a free hit? Crazy, Sam Johnston, Agbadu. No, I'm kidding. Crazy in each position. Okay, let's just call that differential. Differential free hit. Kevin Kelleher, Brentford, goalkeeper, defender. Crap. I don't know if Trevor Chalobah still falls into that. Crazy. Reece James, because you never know how many minutes he's going to play. Midfield. Again, I don't know. Crazy. Midfield. Noni Madueke. Sorry. Up front, Hugo Ekiteke. Next up is Rewind. Says, hi James, what's your thoughts on Szoboszlai for Minter this week? Can probably bench him if when he picks up 5th yellow. Do you prefer him to Minter? Cheers, mate. Yes, I do. However, If I said to you Szoboszlai got booked at Tottenham next week and missed the Wolves home game in 18, do you still think Szoboszlai is better? Now, Minter goes to Arsenal that week, so again, you might not be bothered. But I'd probably prefer not to buy that at the moment and prefer some alternatives like what I've done, like Harry Wilson, for example. Rhino says, hi, mate, good luck. Bench Doku or Vandenberg. I'd probably Vandenberg. I'd probably play Doku. Also, an option to go Doku to cheaper mid. Start Vandenberg and sell Pope for Raya. Currently planning on starting Dubravka and selling Pope next week. There was a rumour going around Nick Pope might be back tomorrow for Newcastle. So I probably wouldn't piss about with that. Bearing in mind Dubravka's fixture this week is okay, so you can just play that. You've got Raya. You've got the one Arsenal player that everyone knows is probably going to play this week. Hugh Kepa start. Doku to a cheaper mid. I mean, if you're on Doku at this moment, I'd probably want to hold through the West Ham game next week and then reassess. Unless you're doing something like Doku down to Wilson and buying Nico O'Reilly or something. Shaq Mura says, hi James, thanks for content. As always, Munoz, Doku out. Would you bring in Hincapi / Wilson or risk Alderete Rice? I mean, I've gone Hincapi Wilson, so that's straightforward. Yo says, what do you think of Wirtz as a pump for the next 3? Brighton, Tottenham, Wolves and switch to Cunha? Or should I go Cunha from now? You are not going to move Florian Wirtz when he's got Leeds at home in Gameweek 19, mate, which is the 4th game on that run. You're not. Not if he does well between now and then. So you cut yourself off Cunha? I'd probably rather the Cunha punt, personally. Just go with that. I think Wirtz needs monitoring. And I think he could be a really interesting one to buy in 18 for 18 and 19. But I'd prefer probably not to buy him at this moment in time. Tanky says, afternoon, James, play Keane and keep free transfers. I'll be buying Keane when he's got Chelsea away now and Arsenal next week. Or buy Sepp Vandenberg and bench Keane. Sorry, you did say play Keane, not buy. Play Keane and keep free transfers, or buy Sepp Vandenberg and bench Keane. Also benching Senesi and all of this. Yeah, I mean, next couple, Brentford, Leeds, Wolves will cover you really nicely to Everton's good swing of fixtures, so I'm okay with that if you feel you need to. Diljit says, good afternoon, James. Hope you have a nice weekend. What do you make of all the crazy price changes? Inevitability, because, I mean, I didn't think about it much prior to this week, I must be honest. But it occurred to me quite quickly during the week. I was like, wow, this is going off big. Everyone's got 5 times the amount of transfers, and not everyone's used 5 free transfers, but then an ordinary week, a lot of people will roll, right? So effectively, it kind of is 5 times the transfers. Let's call it 4 times the transfers. I did think they might tweak the algorithm a bit so prices didn't jump as quickly as they have. Doesn't seem to be the case. KL says, hi James, what's your guess on expected minutes for Saka and if it's enough for captain versus Haaland? If my predicted Arsenal team is right, then I think you could be looking at 80. If, as an expected, if Madueke's not in the Arsenal team, I think we're lowering that towards 70. My advice is what I said at the start. If you have real confidence in him to haul, coupled with thinking that Haaland's got a really tough away game at Crystal Palace tomorrow and you don't fancy it, then please proceed. Next up is Jump says, hi James, good luck this week. I have a league with mates where you can't use Salah, Haaland, Saka, Palmer and 6 million plus defenders. I still have triple captain left to use. When and who would you pick it on? Probably Bruno Fernandes, game week 19, mate. Hasselbank's win says, I asked you a year ago who is Spurs' most important player and you said Vicario. Is that still the case? Probably not, no. But the difference between, like, Kinski is okay as a number 2. You have to recognise that this time last year we basically didn't have a number 2. We had my mate the tree, Fraser Forster, and a completely uncapped Brandon Austin. So that was the player that we could ill afford to lose the most in terms of injury. Like, who would that player be now? It's probably Mickey or Romero. And then weirdly, people will massively disagree with this. But then actually with what we have at the moment, I would actually say Rodrigo Bentancur. Because he's significantly better in the number 6 role than the alternatives without digging anyone out. Super Sam Plays says, hi James, Merry Christmas, mate. Do you think Mitoma's return could be a benefit for Minter's positioning in the next few weeks with there being dual threat on both flanks? Was planning Minter to Wilson. Wouldn't let it hold you back. Be very surprised if Mitoma starts today. He's been out for a good while, so I don't think you could look at it and say he's definitely back in the team next week. In theory, should it? Yes, it's dual threat. It's common sense. But it doesn't mean Minter won't still be holding hands with the linesman for the majority of the game. If you get the Minter that played at Nottingham Forest, good asset. You get the Minter that played Villa and West Ham, bad asset. Simple as that. Neil Kager says, hi James, thanks for the great content. Hit a like, people. Yeah, smash a like, please, people. It would be hugely appreciated. I mean, about 10% of you smash a like. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. JM says, hi James, do I start Goo or Stack this week? I mean, João Pedro play up front, mate. I think there's a good chance Goo starts, as Maresca likes a traditional striker against low block teams. But with Palmer back, maybe just plays Pedro. Yeah, exactly that, mate. Zabinho says, good afternoon, boss. Start Minter or Chow this week. I've got VVD starting if that makes a difference. Yeah, a little bit. I probably would therefore go with Chow. I would probably, just generally speaking, I would favour Minter between the two. And you can do that. I'm playing Dubravka and Wilson this week, who are obviously playing each other. But they're both kind of enabling assets. And if you told me now either one of them did well, I'd be pretty comfortable with that. That's a little different when you've got like a premium defender in Van Dijk sitting there, I think. So I would probably, because of that circumstance, I'd play Chow. If it's just a 50-50 between the two and you're not bothered about that, then I would play Minter. Next up is David James Whiteway. Bumo to Rice. No. Bumo, unless something's changed this morning and I'm not aware of anything changing, then I would fully anticipate Bumo to play Monday evening. I know Amram said he's not clear and he's not sure. There's no information going around that would suggest to me. Yeah. Sorry, just replying something. Message that wouldn't surprise anyone, just saying that Salah will be a sub today. But I don't think anyone's expecting him to start anyway. Sorry, what was the question? Bumo to Rice. No, Bumo I think will play Monday night. It's still reasonable for this week. I'd sold Bumo last Saturday night for Foden. It was like enough of the price rises once I'd watched the highlights of City Leeds, and Cherky had a bit of a theory. Cherky might be impacting Foden badly. Look at the assist for him. No, not at all. That was wrong. So I had to take that choice early on. But I didn't particularly want to get rid of Bumo massively. I've not been impressed with him the last few games, but I wouldn't be going Bumo to a player that I don't know is going to play. I think United would be so unfortunate if Bumo, Diallo and Matsurari weren't allowed to play. I'm really unfortunate. I'm sure common sense will prevail. Cameron's first game is not till December the 24th. That's 11 days from now. So it's 9 days from the Bournemouth game. Right, most players have got less time to join up with their teams than that. Next up is Dern says, hi James, would you choose Gyökeres and Harry Wilson or Rodgers or Ekiteke and Eze? Context please, because I wouldn't buy Gyökeres unless you were looking to chain that onto something else, a different forward next week. If it's for free here, I'll take the Gyökeres route. Mayan Punj says, hi James, what do you think of Truffers and Munoz replacement? I rate Bournemouth more than Fulham. Already have Gay, Calafiori and O'Reilly. I mean, Bournemouth's fixtures are awful. Pretty much till game week 24, bar the fixture against Burnley in game week 17, and Fulham have a better fixture. So, truthfully, honestly, I'd take the Fulham route. Truffers okay, is like a full fifth defender, but I don't think you'd be starting him much other than maybe next week, mate. Tanky says, thoughts on holding Boomer for this week? Just covered for someone else. Like, it's okay, mate. It's okay. I'd be eyes on the prices because obviously he's going to get red flag pretty quickly. So it might be one you want to make an early move tonight or tomorrow, subject to price changes and stuff. Next up is Daniel's Car says, who do you think is the best defender on free hit for 5 million or under? Already have Anderson. Cheers. 5 million or under. Vandenberg is certainly a contender. Don't mind Coyote as a... Okay, might get me an attacking return offensively from open play. You could do worse than go Bassi with Anderson. Alternative one. Matty Cash, maybe. Villa away to West Ham. That's one of the rare clean sheets. I don't mind that on a free hit. Villa player, perhaps. Next up is Draclorian says, done Brighton duo to Foden and Rao. How do you feel about Gordon? Not brilliant. I'm sure he probably starts tomorrow. Option says A, Timber to Vandenberg to fund Gordon to Saka. Slash Haaland? That can't be right. You put Haaland C. I don't know what that means, mate. B, Gordon to Rice slash Eze, risking Timber bench is a Stev. That's decent cover this week, mate. That's okay. C, keep Gordon, no Arsenal attack. I think I'd leave it, personally. I think Timber will play, personally. He travelled to Belgium, unless he's had a setback, which could be the case, and we don't know about it. I think on that, I'd just leave it with Gordon, and it will sit you there for a couple of weeks. He'll either picks up form and then they've got great fixtures, or if he doesn't, you think, okay, I can move that to Cunha in 18, for example, something like that. Simon Baker says, hey James, no question, just saying I've gone rogue with both Gyökeres and Damsgaard in this game week. Bruno out too. It may all go tits up, but I'm actually loving my moves this week. Play it your way, peeps. That's it. That's it. The most important opinion isn't my own, it's your own. And that you're happy with your decisions. What I always say. Get to deadline. Deadline hits. You can't impact the outcome. Are you content and happy with your decisions? If you are, then there's nothing else you can do. Whatever happens will happen. Vinyl Puglis says, good morning, James. Hope all is well. What are your thoughts on selling Dewsbury Hall for Wilson? This would mean benching Voltemade this week. Wildcard still in hand. Not playing Voltemade this week. I would expect him to start. A few of our Newcastle patrons have said, not sure. It's not a definitive. That's fine. I'd play Voltemade over the other two anyway. Either way. So just play Voltemade. Like Sunderland have been great, right? Haven't lost a home game. Defensive numbers good, etc. Newcastle will go there fully motivated tomorrow. I think there'll be goals in the game. I got it down for a 2-2 personally. So I'm going to play Voltemade over both of them anyway. If you've taken the Dewsbury Hall route, it's 2 games to get through and then they've got a brilliant run of fixtures. Wouldn't move that, mate. Bad Company says, playing free hit, have enough money left over to swap Raul Jimenez to Haaland. Would you do it? Excuse me. Yes, absolutely. I get it. You might be lacing the questions and you're not going to captain him this week. You can take him on by all means, but the money doesn't need to go anywhere. And like ultimately, is Raul Jimenez a better choice this week than Haaland? There's never a week ever that Raul Jimenez is going to be a better choice than Haaland. Outcome might prove that. And if you want to take the risk because you're like, right, I'm not going to captain him. He's a loser in my book anyway. I want 11 players that can affect my rank positively. By all means, go for it. Mark Penter says, Doku, keep or sell. Thanks, James. I don't know what you want to buy. But my view would be he's not in the best three Manchester City. That would be O'Reilly, Foden, Haaland. Rhino says, should I sell Enzo for Rice or keep him still this week? I have Saka and Timber from Arsenal. Yeah, look, it's a decent fixture for Enzo Fernandez. I saw a statistic this morning that Everton haven't won at Stamford Bridge since like 1994 or something. And Chelsea have kept clean sheets in 9 of their last 12 home games against Everton. Which is a bit of a mad one. Doesn't mean that's going to be the case today. Of course it doesn't. And every third one's quite a big win. And no, this isn't like the third one. Every third or fourth win. They beat them 6-0 like 2 years ago, didn't they? This is a different Everton now, admittedly. But yeah, nothing wrong with Enzo Fernandez this week. Nothing wrong with that at all. FPL Eze says, hi James, have Triple City, Doku, O'Reilly, Haaland. Is it worth flipping Doku to Foden with these extra transfers? Yes, probably. Though, at this point, you've missed a huge amount of value, which I'm sure you know. And it might slow down over this course of the week, particularly if he was to blank tomorrow. It probably slows down a bit. But, I mean, ultimately, they've got West Ham at home next week. You're going to want to get there, aren't you? But I don't know if I'd flip that at this moment. Think about Doku versus probably Nathaniel Klein. Could he have some joy? I still think it's a back 5, so it's a more difficult game for Doku than Foden. So, yeah, I'd probably flip it. Look, I went Doku over Foden on Wildcard in 13 and was very happy with that decision at the time. I'll be honest, it wasn't even close. But it's not close now either. It's Foden. Yago says, hey, so we go the other way now, no doubt. Yago says, hey James, how bad an idea is it to go with no Haaland on free hit this week? Ekateke is a good option considering the recent news. Yeah, sure. Like, it's fine. How bad of an idea is it? Well, that will be decided by how well the big man does tomorrow, right? you don't think he has a good day tomorrow and you're not captaining him and you want to take him on, exactly what I just answered for someone else, mate. Abdul Hamid says, use 1 free transfer for Rangers to Dewsbury Hall. Crazy to use the other 4. Goodmanson, Chow, Mateta and Dyer. 2. Hincapi, Anderson, Foden, Gu. Or O'Reilly instead of Hincapi. I mean, O'Reilly will carry you longer. Hincapi's obviously just is sitting there for whenever Gabriel's back. We don't have clarity on when that'll be. Gu, obviously really popular this week. 4.2 forward, leaving it as dead spot. I'd rather not have a dead spot over the Christmas period, personally. You're essentially making 4 moves there. And it does feel like, realistically, you're buying Foden. Chow has a difficult few fixtures, then a really good run. Goodmanson, 5th defender, shouldn't be an issue. And Dyer needs dealing with. Okay? And it's a difficult fixture this week. So, and Dyer to move. Now, I'm going to guess the way you've labelled it, the only way you're really getting there is from Mateta. But I don't think you need to run to Foden this week. I promise you, I might be buying Jean-Philippe Mateta next week. That is definitely a possibility for me. Once the game on Thursday's gone, I will consider him. He's not out of thinking for me. I said just a few weeks ago, 17, I'll be looking again potentially at Mateta. And Dyer you will want to deal with. And Dyer you will want to get to Foden next week either way. The other defensive moves do make your team better. I can't argue that. I'm going to say yes. He's definitely not crazy. Let's put it that way, mate. Jerry says, hello, Jimbo. Would you do Munoz and Ndiaye to 0.3? Sorry, I'll reread that. Would you do Munoz and Ndiaye and 0.3 to Timber and Elliot Anderson or Harry Wilson, or Vandenberg and Eze? I'm not sure I understand this question, mate. So Timber and Wilson or Timber and Wilson, but I don't think you buy a Timber this week. Do you go Hincapi at this moment if you don't own? Jock Goat says, hi James, hope you're well. Can you rank Szoboszlai, Ekiteke, Wilson and Raul Jimenez from 1 to 4 free hit this game week? Okay. Ekiteke, Szoboszlai, Raul Jimenez, Harry Wilson. Tanky says, is it worth a transfer to do Morgan Gibbs-White to Harry Wilson? Thanks for the stream's content as always. You're asking, go and ask someone else on someone else's stream, mate. Why is that? Well, because Morgan Gibbs-White's playing my team this week, so I ain't going to tell you to sell him, mate. You should know that. Who's Sam? And look, Gibbs-White's fixtures next to Tottenham, Fulham. Wilson's is Burnley, Forest. Significantly better. You can wait on that, then buy Dewsbury Hall 18 for Gibbs-White. Different way of doing it. Hugh Sam Bally says, hi James, Palmer on free hit. For me, a no. With those Enzo Maresca comments yesterday. I mean, if you're going without Haaland, you're going to be really tempted, and I completely understand that. For me, no. Like, I think those comments from Enzo Maresca yesterday are really worrying. Really worrying. I had a question a few weeks ago about would you think the biggest name would be a miss out on the England squad. I'm going to change that now off those comments yesterday and say Cole Palmer. I think he needs to have an operation. This where he said, after the Leeds game he played a half hour and he was in big trouble, but then he played longer against Bournemouth and he was okay. It's different, like day on day. Right, he hasn't fixed the problem. Now, it's 1 week, right? You're not worried about that. Palmer's put on Insta last night. Like, he's probably starting, etc. I get all that. What's his fitness levels? Everton, terrible. No. Like, in the same league position as Chelsea. For me, it's a no. I actually think Everton gets that today. Blub Not says, hi James, thoughts on going with Gyökeres and Eze on a free hit? Yeah, okay, if you fancy him. I presume Saka's going along with that, so then you know Arsenal defence. Saka's got to go in, really, isn't he? If you're on free hit, I don't know, you're overlooking that. For me, if I was free hit, Hincapi, Saka and Gyökeres would be my choices. Mick O'Messy says, bench 1, Minter, Bruno Guimaraes or O'Reilly. If you have no Liverpool defence, then my answer to that would be O'Reilly. If you have Van Dijk, then similar to answer to I gave someone else earlier. Native says, which of the next 3 weeks looks best to wildcard? Any notable fixtures upcoming? Like, it's either now or 19, I think, really. He's not going to swing massively between now and 19. If you wait, then you're looking at different teams to potentially attack. So choose Chelsea, Newcastle, Everton, those come round again. You'll get closer towards a positive fixture swing for Arsenal, but we'll want Arsenal assets this week. Nah, if you're not sure, I mean, I don't want to tell you to wildcard half hour ahead of deadline personally. So I'm going to say, if you're setting up okay that you weren't sure to do it now, then just wait for the last week, mate. Unless you need to use triple captaincy in that week. Sorry, just checking a couple of messages. Shout out to our patrons. If we've got any clarified news in terms of team news for the 3 o'clocks or the later games, drop me a tag on Slack and I'll get it shared with the community. Okay, there's nothing at the moment, and I'm not really expecting anything team news wise that's certain. Next up is JLee2424. Would you sell Mr. Voltamoose to Foden for a -4? No. If you'd have asked me that last Saturday, I'd say yeah, probably, mate. But what's the point now, this close to deadline, when you've let 0.3 of Foden go? Native says, which of the next 3 weeks looks best to wildcard? I've done that one, haven't I? Sorry. Ryan Mack, hi James, love the content this week as always. Thank you. Rice or Eze for the next 2 weeks. Bench boost in 17 and Mins is crucial. Cheers, mate. So your crucial is next week though. My answer is Declan Rice. Don't know, you could see it this time next week. No, if Eze will start at Everton, Declan Rice will, no doubt. Urus Milicevic says, hi James, who would you start out of Rodon, Lacroix and King? Not King, unfortunately. Minutes might be better over Christmas once Alex Iwobi goes to AFCON. Rodon or Lacroix? You probably got Haaland. If you're taking Haaland on, I'd start Lacroix. Like if you're on free hit and you're not having Haaland, I'd start Lacroix. But then I presume you wouldn't go Lacroix on free hit under that circumstance. So I'm going to say Joe Rodon. King of Mandalore says, how much do you rate Saka as a long-term hold after this week? Easiest route to Fernandes game week 19, but could find another way if I really want to keep Saka. Yeah, not massively interested, actually. I kind of took a decision early this week to get Fernandes in now, rather than, I know that Saka would lead to Fernandes personally, and going Fernandes now would enable to me to look in a few weeks at things like Cunha, Verts, Szoboszlai, suspension out of the way, these kind of things maybe. Also, Saka can hold for Palmer if he sorts it out and gets himself fit. So yes, but I don't think you'd end up holding him much beyond game week 21. I don't think. So define long term, because I mean we're talking about 3 weeks away, but FPL 5 game weeks is a decent size really for when you want to be making offensive moves anyway and you've got transfers in hand. I'm not bothered beyond this week. Like Saka, if Saka gets 5 tonight, I ain't buying him next week. Be looking at other things. So it's only this week that's a concern. I realise he could tear me apart tonight. I get that. Next up is Absurdologist says, hello, is Gordon and Voltamade to Saka and Gu worth 2 free transfers? I'd start Dewsbury Hall or Chow in this scenario. If I don't, I'll cap Eze. The answer has to be no, right? Here's a scenario for you, right? I could have put, before I brought Hincapi in, I could have gone Guimaraes to Saka, Voltamade to Krupi Jr. I think even better. So I think the one thing about Mark Gu, by the way, like you will want free Chelsea once you get into late January latest, and Mark Gu is going to be a transfer to make that happen, I think. I could have done that, and I'd be playing Nico O'Reilly instead. No, it wasn't for me personally. Mahomie says, hey James and good luck. What do you think of 1 week punts on wildcard 16 of Lewis Skelly and Dango Utara before moving him on next week using free transfers? Like the Blank and Hall's picks, very interesting. yeah, Saka to Hall and Haaland to Blank. So yeah, that's what I tipped up. But you know me, I don't like to go boring with those picks. I do think Haaland returns this weekend, really. I wouldn't go 2. 1's okay, and I'd rather you went the offensive one. So I'd rather you punted Utara and then chain that on something else next week. I can't really seem to make a case for Lewis Skelly over Hincapi at this moment, personally. Because then you also get stuck with a hole with Lewis Skelly. We're like, well, does he play again? Oh, he played really well last week. It gets awkward. Utari, and you at least you know where you stand. He's got to go, right? K2BDYUWHW. Hope all is well, James. Am I missing something? Or why is Goo the popular 4.2 over Obi? Surely you'd rather leave the Chelsea spot free for a potential triple up in game week 21. That's very true, mate. But in game week 19, you may very well want Fernandes, Cunha, and Dalu or Dorgu. Absolutely, why not? Wouldn't be Obi, it'd be getting up the Krupi, because I think now, before the concern with Krupi was very much all Semenyo and Senesi. I don't see that so much now, personally. Maybe because I'm not on either, I'd see that easier. Others won't, maybe. Next up, Daniel Carr. Would you go for Foden or Bumo on free hit? Free hit between the two? Probably someone else. Genuinely, Bumo on a free hit. I mean, you haven't built up value in Foden anyway if you're on free hit. Super Sam Plays says, bench boost of Dubravka, Estev, Wilson and Rodon, either now or 18. Now. Yeah, I know it's a little bit conflicting. You've got the two Burnley against Harry. I presume that's Harry Wilson rather than Callum Wilson. Rodon's kind of same as in terms of fixtures. Mind you, I'm looking at the wrong week there, and you said 18. So Wilson's at West Ham, Burnley at home to Everton. Dubravka Estev are safe. Wilson, as long as he's fit, safe. Yeah, I changed my mind on that, Sam. Sorry, I was looking at the 19 fixtures. Yeah, 18 actually, I think. Yeah. But I also think with bench boost, don't be scared about having players playing against each other on bench boost. You have to separate the decision, right? Or your only decision on bench boost is your 4 weakest players. If you're doing it, like if you want to fuck it about. But realistically, your bench boost is right. This is the week I want to play my 4 shittest players, right? And you're looking for as many points of those 4 as possible, right? Now, because they're your 4 shittest players, the chance of them all returning, let's be honest, is quite small, particularly in a single game week. So I'd be very happy if you got Wilson scored and it knocked out the Burnley clean sheets and went, right, fine. Even if 1-1 Wilson scores, minimum 7, probably 8 or more, maybe even plus a 2-pointer from Rodon or 1 point. 12 points, single game week, it's fine, mate. But yeah, probably 18 is slightly better for you. Greg says, hi, James, play Mukiele or Alderete. For me, Alderete. Just a little bit bigger set play for it. Yargo says, what do you expect to be, and also I think a little bit more likely for Defcons at this moment. Yago says, what do you expect to be the more exciting watch this afternoon for neutrals, Chelsea, Everton or Palace City? I'd say with 100% confidence, mate, that the better game today would be Chelsea, Everton. I'll bet you that when Chelsea, Everton finishes, Palace City still 0-0. There you go. At me when I'm wrong. Jock Goat says, would you prefer Collins, Eze, Ekiteke or Skelly, Szoboszlai, Rao/Ekiteke on free hit this game week? The Ekiteke route. Mitzen Vada says, good morning from Canada, James, on free hit and have 2 dilemmas. Sanchez or Leno in goal? Sanchez. Szoboszlai or Dango for the 4th mid? Dango. Classy Citizen says, Haaland assist. Haaland against exhausted centre-backs. What do you think? Seems to me that he bags multiple. Why are they exhausted? What, because they played a game in Ireland on Thursday. They were 3-0 up at half-time. I'm sure it was mash duress for them, mate. I think you can have narratives here. No Munoz. Okay, there's this, that and the other. Or it's back 5. Space will be difficult for him. They're strong defensively. I think you can have your narratives either. If that's your one, fine. But I don't agree with the Palace centre-backs tired. They didn't have any stress Thursday night, mate. Next up is Andy Max says, hi, mate. Would you buy Joachim Anderson for Rodon as cover for Timber in case he doesn't play or save the transfer? For me, unless you were going to use Joachim Anderson regularly, save the transfer. If you're buying Anderson, like he's going to be my first choice moving forward, cool, buy him. Otherwise, no from me. King of Mandalore, can you order Truffle, Burn, Stack, Rodon in terms of who'd start? Stack, Rodon, Burn, Truffle. Ayrton Sinya says Semenyo or Rice to Bruno Fernandes. Neither waited this long. We've gone 2 through the week, for example. Neither. Neither for me. Come back to Bruno in game week 19. Unless you really think Rice doesn't start, then sure, fine. I don't know how to turn off. Can I just say, I've not activated soup chats, and I see there's a couple in. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. I don't know how to turn it off. I don't actually want them on. I've been very serious. I don't want them on, but I'll cover them. Thank you. L Chivers 499 says 3 hit 16, pick one. Bumo, Cunha, Eze, or Ekiteke. Ekiteke from them, mate. Best of luck. Thank you. Absurdologist says, thanks for replying. No Saka is ready for hurt, but having 5 free transfers next game, which sounds good. Very best of luck. Yeah, look, if we're going without Saka this week, we've got to be prepared to know that, yeah, there's every chance we're going to get hurt. Right, let's get back to order we was in. If people want to do super chats, I can't stop. I don't know how to turn it off. If someone can tell me, I want to know, because I'd rather have them off, because I'll get through most of the questions anyway. So I don't think you should be giving me money. If you want to give me money, please support the show at www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Cole Slipper, thanks for the benching dilemmas. Have a great weekend. You too. That's a John Cena, by the way. FPL Slippers says, for this week only, Lewis, Skelly, or White. I think Ben White plays. P. Macker says, James, and you're one player to haul, one player to blank. You pick the robot to blank, yet he's your captain. Yeah. So what it is, if you think about it logically, if you look through my haul or blank choices this season, they've been really shit. And I'm quite scared of Saka, and I own Haaland. So actually, I just did it for selfish purposes, right? P. Macker says 4380. James, I've done. Heather says, hi James, start 2 of Rice, Semenyo or Xhaka. Oh, I'd bench Xhaka from that, mate. Super Tugger says, hey James, no questions this week. Captain Saka, good luck and thanks for the content in the week. Good luck to you too. Andreas says, hi James, I can do Porro and Kudos. Yeah, do it. To Chalobah and Rice. Anyone else you would suggest? That would be the full 5 transfers used. My honest answer to that at the moment would be don't. I'll tell you why. We've got doubts about Declan Rice today. Okay, obviously he's a superior asset. But we've got doubts about him. Porro and Kudos, I think particularly Porro is going to be really good for minutes actually for Christmas. Defensively, we're a bit Jekyll and Hyde. Our Christmas run isn't terrible. I would be wanting to move him on, but his minutes will be good, and I think better than Chalobah's. I don't think, other than this week, I don't think Chalobah is a better choice than Porro over the next 5. And you know I'm quite negative on Tottenham. Similarly, I'm running from Kudos to... I think about Minter. I know he didn't return at first, but he did give them troubles on that side. Kudos might have some fun on Sunday. I think our game's a really difficult one to call this week, but really difficult. Could easily go either way. It's almost like you're doing it because you can. And I totally get Rice better than Kudos and long-term Chalobah better than Porro. I'm not sure I'd rush either of them through, though. They're both all right, I think, for this week. I'm going to regret that, no doubt, but I wish you luck. Benj Burrows says, hit the like button for the free content. Who scores more FPL points over Gameweek 16 and 17, Gordon or Cunha? Over 16-17, Gordon. I'd tell you why, again, Chelsea fiction might suit next week, actually. Berticus says, bench one of Vandenberg, Jockey Anderson or O'Reilly. Oh, man, if I got Vandenberg and Anderson for them 2 fixtures, they're playing. Louis M says, O'Reilly info on predicted 11 showing as not available, presumably as his details been updated in game. Oh, it could be. Have they changed the apostrophe? It could be that, mate. It could well be that. So apologies. I haven't refreshed anything from last night. I didn't change any of my predicted lineups. Andrew Ogilvie says, would you triple captain Saka this week at Haaland West Ham, mate? Yeah, it would be for me. Aiden says, Bowen or Raul Jimenez on Wildcard. 3 hits 17, so I can avoid Bowen rough game next week. You're just looking for confirmation bias. Yeah, Raul Jimenez, mate. Don't necessarily feel you have to spend all the money, right? You want to set up Jimenez to go to Bowen in 18 when they're playing each other. Not ideal. Or 19 or something, then leave the money, mate. Next up is Alex Lonan. Hi James, would you play KDW? I presume it's meant to be Keenan Dewsbury Hall well back this week. There's a theory which our Brighton correspondent Sam Murray, FPL Seagull, and a few others have spotted about players in bibs being in the starting 11 for Brighton. Go and look at FPL Seagull's account on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call Elon Musk at this week. Go and have a look at his tweet from last night, because Danny Welbeck was not wearing a bib. So there's every chance that Danny Welbeck is a substitute possibly for Brighton today. So I would actually play Dewsbury Hall on set plays. I'd play him. And he's probably, with Idrissa Gana Gay and Timo Rogbin back from suspension, he's probably back in the 10 position today. Ked W says, hey, Happy New Year, James. Harry and your wife, will she ever make an appearance? You don't need that in your life. Neither do I. Anyways, Croupy Jr. worth keeping on a bench booster. Is there a better alternative of 5.4 max to spend? Is this a next week question or is it a now? Well, because anyone who's mentioned Croupy Jr. bench boost to me seems to be doing it in Gameweek 17. So is there an alternative next week? Might be. Let's say Danny Welbeck's injured. You might want to go Kostoulis from Brighton, but we don't have that information now, for example. There aren't many to jump up to. Maybe a Leeds Palace next week. It's not great. I'd leave that be at the moment. I'm going to assume on your question that you're looking at bench boost next week. Apologies if you're not. I'd probably leave that be at the moment. Smash a like, please, everyone. By the way, FPL Copium says, how long do you foresee Foden's form continuing, considering he's a very hot and cold player, considering just going Cherky instead? Well, I've bought Phil Foden this week, so I presume it's over. That would make sense, wouldn't it? I was right. You were right all along, James. No, I don't think I am, actually. Yeah, he's going to be a scary player not right next week, Phil Foden. RG says, in Wildcard 16, do you agree with Konate, Vandenberg and Anderson as third, fourth and fifth defender? Konate is that much worse than VVD? Question. No, but what you do need to factor with Konate is he's largely been shite this season. Every Liverpool fan will tell you that. Conor Bradley's obviously suspended this week, then he's back. And Jeremy Frimpong is really close as well. Right, at that point, they can rotate Konate and play Gomez at centre back. So yeah, VVD be your extra. I would not be buying Ibrahim Konate, mate. Frankie Smitter says, would you punt Lewis Potter on a free hit? No, personally, I wouldn't. I do think there's a decent chance he plays, but I don't think there's anything secure in that at all, personally. Reece Nelson might be available. Lewis Potter should be ahead of him in terms of selection. I do think he probably will play. Would I punt it? No. Could be gold. Would I? That's the question. No, I wouldn't. Mark Penter says, Collins or Anderson in, thanks. If you're buying, then Anderson. If it's free hit, it's a closer call. NMSWFC says, afternoon, James, would you move Saliba onto Hincapi? Excuse me, if O'Reilly is first bench, 2 free transfer, 0.4 in the bank, no other Arsenal defensive coverage, have a great weekend. As someone said towards the start of the stream, and I answered, what are we holding Saliba for? Like, all I mean by that is Saliba just holding for Gabriel for you anyway? Well, it'll be easier to determine what happens with Hincapi, because Gabriel will come back in for Hincapi. So, I don't know, do you want Saliba? If you want Saliba long term, then fine, O'Reilly's great cover for you this week, isn't he? If you don't think you're going to be holding Saliba when Gabriel comes back, well, Gabriel might be back soon. I'd move it on, mate. Andrew Sands says, getting in early this year. Thanks for the content you create. Sad we don't hear as much from Clayton, but great that he's spreading his wings. David, the weekend has been a great addition. Thank you. And tell you, Clayton, James show will be on Tuesday this week. I'll take you through the content when we've gone past deadline. Uros Milicevic says, should I wait until next week to transfer Enzo and Welbeck to Foden and go, since I've already missed the price increase, or should I just do it now? I'm not keen on the Palace away fixture. This is intriguing because, like I said, Sam's theory is that Welbeck doesn't start for Brighton. But yeah, again, you're looking for a bit of confirmation. You're like, I'm not sure on this Palace away thing. I get it. And yes, if I'd let Foden's price rises go already this week and was thinking about buying him now, I wouldn't. But that's me. I'd be too pissed off with myself personally. FPL Pro says, burned all my 5 free transfers. Good luck, mate. You too. Elliot says, Yokeres or Ekateke on free hit. Both. No, actually, I'd take a slight preference on Yokeres. Jay Tasker says, hi James, is there any doubt that White plays today on free hit and want double Arsenal defence alongside Hincapi? Is there any doubt? Well, yeah, if Saliba is fit and Timber's fit, then there's every chance Ben White doesn't play. I don't think Saliba is fit. I think Arteta telling you yesterday he ain't trained yet is the truth. And what you're going to suddenly risk in one training session back in for Wolves when it's Wolves and then there's a week off. I don't think they are. So is there a risk? Yeah, but he should be okay. Next up, Lucani Somgambula, KDH or Minter. Minter. Just about. They're next to each other on the bench in dilemmas, buddy. Manishagwal says, best man as replacement for already have Timber, Anderson and O'Reilly and free Arsenal. You're not going to like my answer, mate. Virgil van Dijk. Josh Shell says, James, thoughts on Ekiteke from next week? Nailed on, great fixtures. Why is it nailed on, mate? Why is it nailed on? Isak's there. If Isak doesn't play today, they change the system. Verts comes in. And then it's Ekiteke versus Isak again, possibly. So, why is it nailed on? Like, thoughts on him? Yeah, he's very much on my radar, maybe from 18. But I wouldn't be looking at as a nailed on at this moment. Homegrown says, hi James, play Bruno Guimaraes or Anderson. I'd go Bruno, mate. I think there'll be goals in that game. Devyan Scott, good luck, mate. Says, mate, Jeremy Pino or Minter. Minter. IHM says, hi James, Mateta to Voltemade or Bruno to Bruno Guimaraes. I mean, despite what I just said, I don't know why you'd make either of those moves this week, mate. Very honest. I'd just leave it be, mate. Big Chief says, hi James, is Saliba available? Just covered that for someone else. David says, Bumo out for Eze, 1 week punt, then switch Semenyo. Same transfer, mate, for me. JS says, thoughts on Eze? Think he starts, probably. But as covered after the North London derby, he ain't going to get space like that again. Even against Wolves. He won't have as much space against Wolves as he got against Tottenham. It was perfect storm. The way we set up tactically, the way they set up tactically, credit to Arsenal and Arteta. Wasn't convinced then. I've chased a few in terms of value. That wasn't one of them. Is he a decent one for free hit this week? Yeah, he'd probably be second in. If I was free hit and if I went Ekiteke instead of Gyökeres, I probably would then go Eze as the next Arsenal attacker for this week specifically. Buy him. Not interested at the moment. Odegaard's fit. Madureki's fit, Martinelli, Trossard's close. We seem to all completely forget Ethan Nwaneri will take some minutes over this period as well. Josh Davis says, hi James, after listening to Oni and the AFCON preview show, I was wondering just how good was JJ Okocha. He was so good, mate, that they named him twice. Absolute baller. Didn't score enough goals, really, for the talent and player that he would be. It was when he was here at Bolton, he was one of the most enjoyable players to watch. You'd go and watch Bolton. Or you'd put Bolton on because JJ Okocha. Yeah, absolute baller of a player. I don't think even Sam Allardyce couldn't believe that they got hold of him, I don't think. Liam says, can do Elliot Anderson to Cunha or Minter to Cunha. Are either of them worth it? Currently starting Anderson against Spurs, and I wouldn't be surprised if he hauled. Right, you don't want to sell Anderson then, Liam, based on what you're saying. So it's Minter to Cunha if you want to. But again, I'm not sure I'd rush that. Is Cunha's next two better than Minter's next two? Debatable. I think when it's close like that, wait. Okay, I got to 18. Oh, I don't like Cunha. I want to buy a Mount or I want to buy Szoboszlai instead or something. Wait. Zaharia says, would you take a punt on Semenyo for 17, 18, then go for Cunha in 19? Or should I save the transfer and go for Cunha in 17? This one's different. Reason this one's different is we're looking at that Semenyo fixture against Burnley next week, right? But Taylor caution here. If Semenyo does really well against Burnley, you will find selling Semenyo before Brentford very difficult. So you might be looking at 19. And I think actually if you look across the next three and go Cunha 19, you'll probably like that more. One Shep says, hi James, thoughts on triple captain Saka this week? No Haaland. If you're just like taking Haaland on permanently, cool. But honestly, truthfully, I would prefer Bruno Fernandes in game week 19. Raul, smash the like. Thanks for everyone else. Smash a like. We are 6 minutes from deadline, guys. Do be getting your teams locked in. For our patrons, let's check some messages. If we've got anything, drop me a tag, please, on Slack, and I'll get it shared. Nothing out of the ordinary coming in. Next up is It's Me Tug. I'm joining late here. Have we covered what's the chance Timber or Rice start, and is there any chance either of them cameo? Yes, we've covered. Yes, it's possible. MH says, from Munoz and Mateta to Gay and Ekiteke. What's your thoughts, James? No Saka, though. From Munoz and Mateta to Gay and Ekiteke, what's your... I don't own Palace defence, and I've kind of decided we'll take it on now for a bit, because obviously I've sold Munoz. Let's see how they sit for a few games, is my opinion on it. And look, if I have an injury and I want to come back to Lacroix next week, that would be the one for me. I know Gay in the goals this year, I would go Lacroix over Gay, personally. El Chivers, I got it. Sorry, I'm not used to looking for it, mate. Neguselli says, Captain Haaland feels as if everyone has the same front 6-7. Hoss Samali says, Enzo to Rice or Enzo to Saka, and Bruno G to Miley or Voltamari to Gyökeres. Need an Arsenal attacker, got 4-3. Go Gyökeres, but sell him next week. There you go. There's my answer, mate. Marina says, hi James, bench one of Gay, O'Reilly or Burn Gay. Maestro 18 says, hey James, would you start Bruno G or Doku? Bruno G, consistency. MH says, playing Timber and Anderson, surely unsure about Van Heck, Gay, Rodon. Shall sell one and who to get. You don't know who you want to buy, mate. Don't. When we get to 4 minutes before then. Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, let's pluck this one out. Timber, Anderson, I presume it's meant to be jockeying because you've named all defenders. That's fine. Van Heck, Gay, Rodon. You're right. They're all playing regularly. They're all regular first choice. Leave her be for the minute, mate. FPL Pro says, hey, James, you can easily turn the super chats off. Go to YouTube Studio, click Earn Monetization, select Supers, toggle Super. Thank you. I appreciate that. Someone remind me to do that when I finish the stream. I hope the channel will get to a place where it's like I've got to put super chats there, but I'll do my best to cover you all off. I'm going to try and do it now as well. Again, shout out to our patrons if we've got anything. Nothing I can see in terms of team news worth sharing at this moment. Next up, Mitchie says, Enzo or Dewsbury Hall? Enzo, mate. Vindaloo, play Gimerez or Welbeck? Gimerez. Michelangelo says, talk me out of captain Ben White when I have Saka, Thiago. What I said earlier, what are you going to do if Saliba's fit, mate? Oh my God. No, I don't think he is. But I've done enough to talk you out of it. Mark Walsh says, Minter to Harry Wilson or roll transfer. Jay Barker, Anderson or Collins/Vandenberg bench boosting next game week. Thanks, James. Anderson. Jock Goat says, Lewis Skelly and Bumo or Cash and Eze. Again, I don't really know why Lewis... money must be the only reason here Lewis Skelly's the choice. Yeah, he plays. Lewis Skelly, Bumo. Capybara says, hi James, what's the ranking of Arsenal midfielders for a free transfer this week? Buy Saka if you can. Don't buy anyone else. That's the ranking. Raj Chokiski says, Eze and Raul and O'Reilly versus Gyökeres, Wilson, Cash on free hit. The Gyökeres route. Ian from Melbourne, non-FPL question. Cena winning his retirement match question. Shame he never got to wrestle Kamala before he passed away at the Shrimpers. He probably gets beat, I assume, would be my best guess, mate. Jayas Wheels says, Tarkovsky or Van der Ven start. Oh, you go, Mickey with the fixtures. BT says, start two of Minter, Enzo, Go. The two that will actually start. Yeah, don't sell Enzo this week, mate. Minter and Enzo start. Andrew Mackey, do you favour double Arsenal defence or attack on free hit? On free hit, probably the double attack. Archie Station, Gyökeres and Leno versus Raya Ekiteke on free hit. Gyökeres, Leno. Scott O'Brien, play Minter or Dewsbury Hall. They're next to each other on the bench in dilemmas. Helib says, White, a good option. Free hit, fine. Buying, no. Archie Station, I've just done that, pal. Well done. Sap Cyrilla says, hi, James. Any reason or not make early transfers for next week? I mean, there's only 6 teams playing in the Carabao Cup, and most of them are going to rotate quite a bit. I think City will, particularly, for example. Archie Station, got you covered loads of times, mate. Cameron Cross, Salah, bench. Isak, bench. Ekiteke and Shabashlo start. I know. Do you want me to tell you the whole team? Daniel Cooper says, morning, James and everyone. Triple captain is active on Bruno. I'm mentally prepared for pain. I wish you luck. Greg says, best of luck this week, guys. Get ready for the VVD haul. Vivek Gore says, start Lacroix or Chow. I presume you have Haaland in your lineup. It's 1 minute to deadline, guys. Please be getting those teams locked in. That is your questions all covered. That's why I want to turn Super Chat off. IHM says, Michele or Lacroix? Michele, if that's your choice to start. We are seconds from deadline, guys. Please do getting those teams locked in. I doubt anyone else is going to get an There you go, 1:30. That is deadline. You are locked in, everyone. I wish you all the very best of luck. If you came just for the FPL stuff, please do us a courtesy of smashing a like and hitting the sub button. Me and Suj will see you for the game week review pod on Monday. If anyone wants to submit any non-FPL questions, happy to cover them off between now and the team news dropping at 1:45 p.m. If you can support the show, as a reminder, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Do it because you want to support the show or you would like access to the additional content. The additional content this month includes everybody getting bumped up a tier. So basic tiers have access to everything at intermediate tier. Intermediates have everything at advanced, and the advanced tier patrons will get more this month as well. Even free members. Sign up for Patreon as a free member, costs you nothing. You'll have access to the best bits every Friday. And this week or this month, you'll have a podcast available for you every week during December. That's free. It's free content and free. Basic tier this month, £3 a month, gets you all the no ads content and released earlier than to the public, and you'll have access to every podcast on Patreon in December. That's around about 20. Basic Plus gets you that, also gets you access into Slack and my planner. That's always the case at Basic Plus. Intermediate tiers normally get all the podcasts. They will have access to all the advanced tier content, which this week will include Nico's Corner, away days at Nottingham Forest, the midweek FPL Dilemma, either talking tactics or what the numbers say, and also team news stream on Friday. Advanced tier patrons get everything, including a Zoom call with me. Thank you for those who joined me on that call this morning. There's a Zoom call every week, and during the course of December, advanced tier patrons will get 5 minutes added on every day during the month, except when I forget, so I owe them 2. I'm not used to doing it. So you might get a second one later today, and you probably get 2, either probably before and after Nottingham Forest away tomorrow. If you want to or can support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. And if you don't want to, well, as a free member, I don't know why you wouldn't. But if you don't want to, I still love you all the same anyway, because it's love for everyone. It's the festive period. Everyone should be nice to each other. There's plenty of content available for free as well. As I said, Game Review podcast on Monday. Tuesday, Clayton James show. Wednesday, Clash of Correspondences. Everton versus Arsenal this week with Sean Norton and Adam Pritchard. Thursday, be Ask James. Friday will be the Weekender. Right, that's your week ahead. Deadline stream next Saturday, 10 a.m. UK time. Newcastle Chelsea is the early kickoff next week. Liam says, don't forget to turn Super Chat off. Yeah. I will try and remember, but it's no good telling me now because I'll probably do another 15 minutes. Daniel Mackey says, best supermarket of choice for Christmas food shopping. Waitrose, but we're snobs in this house. My wife certainly is. Sainsbury's reliable. Say Sainsbury's reliable. Waitrose or M&S if you want to push the boat out, mate. RBKK, but are they worth spending money on? No, most of the time not. But it's Christmas. I'm actually a bit humbug. I don't really give a shit about Christmas. RBKK says, legend, cheers, James. Thank you. Very welcome. Mark Raven Mad says, what do you think of children supporting a rival of their family's club? Before moving to Canada, my family supported Spurs. For my childhood sins, I fell in love I presume you meant with the Wise Hullet Chelsea team. You're a prick. No, I'm only joking. Listen, you can't you can't help who you fall for, right? But like I fell there, right? Long time ago now. We've all done things we probably regret. You probably don't regret that. I mean, it was probably a good choice for you, wasn't it? The thing is, you're saying that before moving to Canada, your family supported Tottenham. Were you with them? I'm gonna guess you were. Like, we're not talking about in-laws here or something like that. So, listen, they obviously never worked hard enough on you. Simple as that. Also, I mean, Tottenham and Chelsea were both pretty shit in the 90s. Then that team came to pass at Chelsea, and they obviously started becoming good. So I don't blame you. Sam Barnard says, last second captain switch from Haaland to Saka. Surely this won't blow up in my face. No, mate. Might blow up out your ass, though. Howard Green says, YouTube settings reminder. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. It's the 145 bit I need to remember. Joseph, I will remember now. Joseph W says, hi, James. How do you think Liverpool will set up formation-wise? I think you're looking at Verts for Isak, and it'll probably be a bit narrower. With Ekateke as one. With, I think, Verts and Szoboszlai, I was going to say wider. It's not correct. They'll have freedom of movement. They will still want to push the fullbacks on, but I don't see Verts playing as like a left-sided 9. So, kind of, this probably doesn't bode well. How they finished at Leeds is the answer. But they were obviously winning the game, so this is a little bit different. So, I'm going to just try and strangle Brighton centrally, aren't they? And they might, by the way. They might. Greg says, who did Stevens Carr score that long-range banger against from right back to top left-hand corner? I mean, there was a few, but the one I think you're talking about was October the 23rd, 1999. And when he hit it, it was like in my line of path, mate, honestly. I knew he'd scored the second he hit it. Mind you, it hit the back of the net within about a second, to be fair, because he hit his thing so hard. That was against Manchester United. Great day. They were European champions. We were poor at the time. We even gave them a 1-goal advantage. We scored 2 really ugly goals. But yeah, Stevie Carr scored this belt. I love Stevie Carr. He was my favourite player at the time. He scored some other great goals as well. Brilliant goal at the Park Lane against Derby. Brilliant one opening day of the season. The following year against Ipswich, where he got in behind and rolled it in. Last day of the season against Sunderland, chipped, I want to say Thomas Sorensen from like corner of the box on the angle, 100% meant it. Yeah, I loved Stevie Carr. Really, really loved him. It was, honestly, he was my favourite player around about that time. MH says, thank you so much for going through our messages and answering our questions. I try. You are very welcome. Thank you. Marius Stocker. Sorry, I hate this YouTube format with the numbers on here now. It's awful. Cheers, James, and thanks for the content. Is there a way I can turn that off, by the way? I don't think I can. Like, display names on YouTube has the ats on them. I much prefer it how it was with the names. If anyone knows how to correct that as well, please tell me. I would love that. Marius says, cheers, James, and thanks for the content. What do you think happens with Spurs tickets this year? Seems like less demand compared to previous years. Yeah, people had enough. I mean, like, it was way overpriced for Slavia Prague. Cheapest ticket was like about 60 quid, mate. People, what are you doing? So, yeah, people have had enough of that. Mid-December. All respect to Slavia Prague at a minimum 60 quid. What's going on here? It might have been some going a bit cheaper, but either way, it was expensive. So there's that. There's also an issue where they've introduced something which is to stop. It had a bit of problem last year of away fans getting into the Tottenham ends. So to counter that, they've made people can't buy a ticket unless they have a membership, and just the membership's like 50 quid. So if you wanted to go to just one game, it's the average price at Tottenham for a ticket. It's like 70 quid average for a Premier League game. Average. I mean, bigger games, some smaller. It costs you like 120 quid if that's the only game you want to go to. It's a lot, isn't it? Now, some people have better well-being than myself, right? I have a disease. I'm aware of it. The Tottenham is like a sickness drug to me. But other people just go, I'm not doing that. So they need to look at that again. Find a balance. I think that will change. That will probably help next year. And it's been dreadful, right? the football's been crap, really. So what's to pay that money to watch like direct football set piece FC shit? It's crap, isn't it? Like, that's fine if they're winning, but they haven't been. You remember the home form's been terrible, buddy. But it'd be fine. It'd be fine. Super Sam Plays says, hi James. Don't know if you watched Palace Thursday night in Dublin. Massive Irish football fan here, so it's a shame Shells was so naive in first half. Our clubs being out of season obviously doesn't help. No, I've seen the goals, Sam. That's all they're saying. So Palace obviously got themselves in a great position. I can't comment on it further than that, mate. TW says, did you watch Dexter Resurrection? And I was kind of reading ahead and make sure there's no spoilers there. The answer to that is no, not yet. I probably will do at some point. In fact, I definitely will do it at some point. How's Harry progressing with school? As you mentioned a few things before, but no worries if you want to keep stuff private. Always got a smile on his face on here. Yeah, no, I've no problem speaking about it. I mean, look, I've done podcasts annually on Patreon, which is available to all paying patrons. It might even be free members, I'm not sure, but I think paying patrons, which I did back in September, which is called Being Dad. It's a solo podcast for me. I've been doing it annually every September to just kind of update on his progression and stuff. So yeah, he's doing okay. Main thing is he's happy, isn't it? That's what matters most. As a parent, you can only try and do your best. For those who don't know, Harry has autism. I'd say it's quite mild autism. It's not unmanageable or anything. But he's happy. He's doing well. He's progressing okay. If I start talking about him, we'll be here for 2 hours. So I won't do that, particularly when I'm in my house at the moment. But he's all well. Thank you for asking, mate. He's very much looking forward to Christmas. Gavin Richardson says, non-FPL, if Modric, Richarlison, Brennan Johnson and Thierry Henry were savoury snacks, what would they be? Egg. Romero would be a pepperami, right? Right, okay. Okay. Brennan Johnson would be a chicken bake. Richarlison might be something that's good but don't last long. It's like Richarlison's a sausage roll. So can we have like I'm just thinking of what's available to buy in Greg's is all I'm thinking about here. Modric would be like a nice donut or something maybe, and Henry's like an eclair or something maybe. JG98 says, hi mate, I hope you're well. Going to Spurs away for the first time at the new ground West Ham in January. Where's best to get some food before the game? Somewhere outside of Tottenham, mate. That's the honest answer, mate. Yeah. Wherever you're going from, whether it's Liverpool Street or whatever route you're taking, yeah, eat before you go, mate. Don't bother. The thing is as well, like, you're a West Ham fan, you don't want to be hanging about in Tottenham, mate. Eat before you go. It's not that eating place today, I'm telling you, is not enough, and it's too big. It's nothing like Stratford, right? Stratford, you go in the shopping centre, do what you want, it's fine. Tottenham's nothing like that, right? So I'm going to say to you, chicken, great. And as long as you don't make yourself obvious, you should be fine. But I'm telling you, you need to be there about 2.5 hours before kickoff, or you're going to be in that queue for about 45 minutes. So don't bother, mate. Eat before you go is the best advice I'll give you. FPL Uproar says, I'm here as a reminder to turn off the super chats. Thanks, mate. Charlie Edwards says, would you rather be a millionaire as a footballer or through business? I mean, you asked me now. Can I change the clock back where you're saying to me, right, I'm 20, then I'll take the footballer route. Now, I wouldn't, right? Because how long's my career going to last? It's going to last one game and I'm broken, mate. But generally speaking, yeah, as a footballer, mate. Got all the adulation that comes with it, etc. Yeah. Archie Station says, went for Leno over Sanchez on free hit. Chelsea doesn't seem significantly better defence than Fulham, and Burnley is much worse. Why would you suggest Sanchez? Home for one. Everton, as I said, have failed to score on 9 of their last 12 visits to Everton. Deadline's gone. Paulie G says, would you rather be stranded on a desert island with David Benson Phillips? I don't know who that is, mate. and Keith Chegwin. I know who Keith Chegwin is. Or Noel Edmonds and Les Dennis. We actually did a production when I was at university where I played the role of Les Dennis doing Family Fortunes. That's a true story. And yes, I agreed to the part. It's probably where I got so many good acting skills from. That I didn't do drama, by the way, or anything. I should have. I don't know who David Benson is. They can't bother me that way then, so I'm going to choose him. Ben Miller says, happy Saturday, James. Watching my new 2-week-old. His name is James too. Congrats, buddy. I hope all is well, mate. Top man. You know where I'm at if you need me. GJ Gots. DJ. Is it Jock Goat, isn't it? It's going to be, yeah. Don't bother putting that in the chat. I just struggled to read. Saying, Xabi Alonso gone. Apparently he's gone. I mean, it wouldn't come as a shock. The reports beforehand was that he was going to get the boot if he lost the City, and he did, right? So if that's true, might be a big surprise. KC Wolf says, bench one, Sainsbury's, Aldi or Asda. Aldi, man, come on. Ian from Melbourne says, Christmas themed jumper or cracker paper hat for the day. Christmas themed jumper, as long as there's not too much red on it. Right, we're probably at team lineup time, aren't we? I think we all know the Liverpool team. Let's see if the team is in. Liverpool, Alisson, Gomez, Van Dijk, Konate, Kirkes, Vert, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Jones, Ekiteke, Gravenberch, Isak is a sub. And so too is Mohamed Salah. So too is Federico Chiesa. The Brighton team. Let's see if this bib theory was correct or not. It is. They're going to have to do something about this, Brighton. Because this isn't the first time it's happened. Yep. Bib theory was correct. Welbeck is a substitute. Mitoma is amongst those substitutes. Yari's just a substitute. So Verbruggen, Dunk, Van Heck. Kadioglu, the Kuiper is a substitute. Vifil play right back. Hinshelwood in with Baleba. You got Minta, Gomez, Gruda, and Jorginho Rota. The Chelsea lineup. The Everton lineup pretty much picks itself this week as well, I'm sure. Chelsea's Sanchez, Gusto, Fofana, Chalobah, Cucurella, James, Enzo Fernandez, Neto, Palmer, Garnacho, João Pedro. I don't think there's any. Pretty sure that's the 11 I had up as well. Don't think that's any surprise. Presume with the Everton lineup, this is going to be more advanced role I expect for Keenan Dewsbury Hall. And it's Garner Gay and James Garner in midfield. Otherwise, what you'd expect: Pickford, O'Brien, Tarkowski, Keane, Mikolenko, Garner, Gay, and Dyer, Dewsbury Hall, Grealish, and Tierno Barry. Okay. I see there's a number of questions still in. So King of Mandalore 146. That's the last one that I'll cover, but I'll cover off all the others in between. Ian from Melbourne, I didn't I? Super Sam plays. Do you think you'll miss the Spurs game this year, mate? Seem to be at the mall. So, sorry, excuse me. I got an itchy eye. I realise that's terrible. I mean, I didn't go to Bodo. I wouldn't have got a ticket. But actually, in fairness, I didn't apply anyway. So it was at a time my other half was away. So I wouldn't have been able to go anyway. Actually, I could have fudged it, but it would have been... I just want peace in my life, you know, that's all I really want. So Bodo's the only game when I've done. Frankfurt's all booked for next month. For those who may not know, I got a ticket for Bournemouth away in January, which is the hardest one to get a ticket for. And it's all legit. It's through the club. It's through my loyalty points. I've got a ticket for that. My dad has not. He's just short. The reason in the difference, you remember when I stood in the snow at Burnley when it got postponed and then went back for the midweek game in the rain? That's the difference. As a consequence of that, I also got tickets for Brentford away the first time we played there, and he didn't get a ticket for that as well. That's the difference in points between us. I've got one, he hasn't. Yes, I'm still going. Sorry, Dad. Love you, Dad. So, no. I don't think I will. I don't think I will. European can't rule out. I don't know, if we ended up in the playoff and we've got Karabag away, I'm not thumping it to like Azerbaijan. I would have no. I say I'm not. When I'm not, oh, should we look? But I've no intention of. But most European games, I don't suppose we'll be in it for long, so I probably will go. We might go out the FA Cup to Villa, and then it's just the league games. And I mean, if it's that and it's done, then mate, then yeah, it's highly likely now I will for the first time go to all 38 league games, which yeah, be quite proud of that. I don't know why I seem to go more the shitter we get, but it is what it is. FPL Spartan says, good afternoon, James. Who is your Munoz replacement in Cloud and who are you captain today? Ooh, that'd be telling, wouldn't it? Well, guess what? I never bought Daniel Munoz, mate. A few weeks ago, I decided to buy Tyreek Mitchell instead. So, I need to worry about that, mate. FPL Spartans. Okay, we're responding on Christopher Deval says, did you ever see Lineker at Spurs? What was he like to watch as a player? My first hero, mate. Yeah, my first season at Tottenham was when we won the FA Cup 1991. So yeah, had that. Lineker, he was England captain. He was the goal scorer. I think that's what most kids when I was 6 was my first hero. Just given Harry recently my first Spurs shirt, which has number 10 on the back. Old Hummel shirt, number 10 on the back. This is before you had names on the back. So yeah, loved Gary. His penalty box presence was remarkable because I think he would tell you this himself. He wasn't a great player. He had brilliant pace, but incredible movement and understanding as a forward. Phenomenal. One of the best in and around the penalty area. And he had to be, right? Because others who've been considered great goals were a kind of a modern one, and he's got way in excess of numbers of, say, what Lineker did, but like Lewandowski. I remember watching Lewandowski at Tottenham when they beat 7-2, and it was one of my abiding memories coming out of the ground. It was like, oh my God, he's so much better than I thought he was. Like his all-round play, his movement, the way he shielded the ball, brought people into play, his understanding, his leadership, the whole package. I was like, wow, that's a top number 9. Gary was just in the box. Predator. And I tell you what, if you put him away one-on-one, all sorts of finishes. He'd go round you. He used to go round the keeper. You used to dink him over, little dink. I remember one goal we got against Charlton. And actually, it's the year before I started going. It's one of my favourite goals. I think it was against Charlton 89-90 season. He got sent on a long ball over the top. He's clearing his throw, and you can't see from the angle when the pass is played if he's on or off. Anyway, flag stays down, and he's running through one-on-one. It's like, is he going to go round him? Is he going to deep him? And the keeper just keeps standing. He don't move. He stays up as long as possible. Lineker gets right to him and just slowly toe pokes it like right through his legs. He had every finish in his armory, but he only really scored goals inside the box. And then you think of one he scored at Old Trafford outside the box. And nearly all his goals was in the box. Brilliant forward. Paulie G has responded to someone. Thank you. Russell Baker says, at 53, made my first European game at Palace in Dublin. The last Christmas song throughout the second half was golden. Worth a listen. This year, to save me from years, I'll give it to Ollie Glasner. Yeah, mate, we were singing that about Postecoglou a couple of years ago, so yeah, you probably won't be singing that next year either. Sorry. No, listen, away day with your club in Europe hits different. I know how you feel, mate. Kavara says, hello, James. What is the best game to target for someone who visits London? Thanks. When you're coming, I mean, Fulham would be the easiest to get hold of if you've got like a mortgage that you have paid and stuff. No, I'm not best placed to answer this because I have a season ticket at Tottenham, so I've always just got a ticket. There'll be other people who've been to other games who will be able to help you better than I can. But yeah, in fairness, actually probably getting one at West Ham is probably not too difficult some of the time. I'll search maybe. Gavin Richardson says, the most recent Dexter was good, felt prime for another series. Yeah, I've heard it's all right. Yeah, I'll watch it. I was a big Dexter fan, so I will watch it. Neil Cheeseman said, but I want to watch what was the one in the middle that they did before. I kind of want to get around to watching that as well, which I wasn't going to bother doing, but now they've done Resurrection, I felt like I probably do need to do that. Neil Cheeseman says, good luck this game week. Very best wishes for Christmas. Thank you. You too. Gaz says, right, mate, I put Romero in for this week only. Masterclass or absolute disaster. I don't know why you've done that, but I hope it goes well for you, mate. Russell Baker, it's very frustrating when we play a big game when Palace played Liverpool at Anfield for the first time in 10 years and lost 9-0. TW says, good to hear on Harry. It's a pretty good season. Dexter, cool. Ali says, best food you ever had at an away day ground. Sausage roll at Leicester. That's the one. Sausage roll at Leicester is the one, mate. Brentford's not bad. Sausage roll either. Yeah, sausage roll, Leicester. That's the one. King Power. Gavin Richardson says, Brendan Johnson would be a big bag of quavers. I presume you mean Brennan Johnson. Yeah, okay. Which player would be a chicken meal? And finally, is BJ still with Lily P? Lily. No, he was never with her. He's with someone else. Sorry. It was hard enough reading Lily P and BJ in the same sentence, and then, oh, right, here we go. Thanks for that. Cheers. BJ Brennan Johnson. Yeah, okay, I got it. Is it Errol or Bonnie's been like nicked? I forget. Me and Nico spoke about it on Nico's corner. What are you doing, man? Who would be a chicken? So I think it's one of them where you're like, oh, that was amazing, but I probably shouldn't have done it. So it's like someone who's capable of like the extraordinary, but he's not consistent. What I mean is, well, that's not harsh because it's always good, so that's not right. But do you know what I mean? You're like, I'm a bit dirty for doing that. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let's say Kudus because he did the dirty on West Ham. There you go, Mohamed Kudus. Good Evils. Is that 67 or 67? I'm not sure, mate. King of Mandalore. Welbeck actually benched. The big theory is true. Brighton surely put an end to that now. Well, we thought this before. Either stop posting those photos or make Hertzler give more bibs out. Neil Cheeseman, do you know which is the smallest and largest Premier League pitch, or they're all pretty much the same? There's not a lot in it. I think Burnley's is the smallest. I think. Don't quote me on that. Biggest, not sure. Might even be ours, maybe. I'm not sure. But the biggest stadiums, there won't be much in it between them. Good Evil. Palmer starts. More headache. Yeah, of course, mate. OGFPL says your dead team is fourth on a correspondent. Like, you might actually... This is true. Go says, thanks for a great stream, James. Do you think Ekateke potentially gets more than 65-70 minutes today? Well, he's in the team, so when you've got that information, that's got to bump up the expected a little bit. So yeah, I would expect so, mate. I said I'd finish this ages ago, didn't I? Go on. Highland and Real says, hi, mate. Were you at Old Trafford in 2012 when you beat us 3-2? First win there in 20 odd years. Was a Spurs fan by me in the Stretford then, who couldn't quite hold his delight in at full time. Can't knock him. No, I wasn't. I was in a pub in Wood Green, unfortunately. I wasn't able to go to too many away games around about that time. So I was in a pub, and yeah, it was mad stressful, awful. I can recollect that from going 3-1 up and thinking, oh my God, we're going to win at Old Trafford. So then United, I want to say Danny Welbeck scored like 20 seconds later or something, and you threw everything at us for 25 minutes. But we had actually played really well before that. Bell got a great goal. With Moussa Dembele, put it on a plate for him. Moussa. No, it was in a pub and it was stressful. I think there may have even been the odd tear going around because I'd never seen it. So we hadn't won your place since Lineker. That goal I spoke about outside the box. We actually beat you at Old Trafford twice in about 10 days. It was 3-0 in the League Cup and Lineker scored in the league game. Lineker did score in both as well. So we hadn't beat you up there for 32 years. In fact, I think that was towards the end of 89. So coming up to 33 years. So it's the first time I'd seen Tottenham win at Manchester United. And obviously for me, all that period of my life watching football, Manchester United was by far the best team most often. So yeah, it meant a lot to win that one. Yeah, good evil. That's a good place to end. Moussa Dembele, what a player. Right. Love you lots, guys. If you haven't smashed a like, please do so. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please do so. Get notified when we go live or when stuff gets posted. If you can and would like to support the show, www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. Do it because you want to buy me a Christmas present, or even better, buy me a birthday present. Ciao for now, everyone. Have a great weekend.